Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Oh my gosh, Sarah has the giggles, guys.
I have the giggles. Okay. I don't even know if this is possible. It's probably all in my head, but first of all, welcome to the Mother Daze. I was working all morning and my neck and shoulders were killing me. And so I used this THC CBD oil that you put on your neck. And it was my first time using it. And it came from this company that I was like a little worried about using just because one time Eric gave me like one of their like little tablets for pain relief when I had like a crazy PMS. And I felt like my whole body turned to liquid and melted into the bed. And I was like freaking out.
Oh my God.
I'm so sensitive, you guys. And so I can't even take like a Tylenol PM. I will sleep for 16 hours. So
we think she's high.
I think I'm high off of body oil. Is it possible? Someone write us and tell us this is possible.
Or maybe it's the placebo effect, so just enjoy it.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, my body's a little hot. It's freezing where I am. I'm like wearing a blanket. I'm a little hot. I'm a little sweaty. And then also I'm having trouble like putting my thoughts together. I was like, this is going to be a great episode.
I remember when we were writing our book, I've told you this story before. We were writing the Zen Mama's Guide to Finding Your Path Through Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond. Or is it Rhythm? No, this one was
Rhythm.
Path. It started with Path because we wrote Finding Our Path first, and then we got an American publisher, and then they changed it to Finding Your Rhythm. So
that's right.
Whatever works for you guys, Path, Rhythm, take it or leave it, whatever. Anyway, I'm in this huge ass trailer and we're driving around America. Mm-hmm. And I'm writing the book in my notes and I'm like, chapter 7. And I was writing about something crazy. And then Mark's like, oh, you should have a little pick me up. And I was like, oh, what? And it was this like natural, I don't know where it comes from, but it's kratom. Anyway, Mark swears by it. It's like one of his favorite things to have. And I was like, okay, whatever. Can't be that bad. Took this little like sip from this vial and he's like, yeah, just knock it back. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm on another planet. I'm freaking out. I can't breathe. All the colors were coming into me. I was like, oh my God. Because I didn't experiment with drugs as a kid. Like I did not. I saw people in my family get taken down by drugs. So I was like, I'm not going to take anything. When all my friends are out going like party drugs and all that, I was like, nope. Like I definitely smoked a bit of weed. Little bit, but that was it. So even this little thing of kratom knocked me for 6. I'm like shaking and rocking in the front seat, like make it stop, like really thought I was going to die. And I tell that story to people because Mark can have kratom and it helps sort of take the edge off of like his day. And he's like loves it, swears by it. He has his kratom tea when we're in America because you can't have it here in Australia. We're a little behind here in Australia. And he made me have it. And I'm like, never again. I will never, ever. I'm so sensitive. I'm like you.
Same. I will never take one of those tablets again. I swore that my insides were liquid and melting into the bed. Just fully. I was like, I tried to get up and I was like, oh no. Like this little blob.
Just like a puddle. A puddle
Eric
of Sarah.
was like, what is wrong with you? He's like, there's hardly any THC in this.
I am so afraid of losing control as well.
Same.
Like the idea that like my mind just runs away. I have this big fear that it will never return to me. It'll never be normal. It'll forever be ruined. So I think that makes my experience worse because I can't just like let go and enjoy it. I'm like, I'm never coming back from this. I'm going to have like drug-induced schizophrenia. Like I get really panicky. Anyway,
Same here.
We're
really excited today because we are starting a whole new segment and it is called Ask Us Anything. So
anything at all.
So we're going to be putting out a little question box every now and then on our Instagram at the Mother Daze podcast. So if you're following us, then we'll put out a little question and you guys can, we'll say, ask us anything. And then you can put in your questions and then we will answer them on the pod.
On the party. By the way, I live in Australia and everyone always asks about snakes and spiders, and I live on a 10-acre land. On a 10-acre land. I live on a 10-acre land. Have I been the one that took the THC? I'm just high from life, girl. I'm high from life.
She's getting, what's it called when you get like a contact? You're getting a contact high.
Sympathy high.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's so funny. But the other day I was like, I told you about pet snail Gary. So Poet really wants the pet snail to have a friend. So I was out, it had rained, and I was like, I'm going to go find Gary. And I found this long slug thing, really long slug thing. And I was like, well, maybe that can be friends with Gary and I can just chuck this weird long slug thing in the aquarium. I go closer. It is not a weird long slug thing. It is a juvenile eastern brown snake just the water, like one of the most poisonous snakes in all the land.
Stop it.
Like insanely venomous. And it was a juvie. So it was quite small. That's why I thought it was this long slug. And I went to it and I was like, oh my God, girls, get back. Because I saw it had the black little head, which is like the marking to say it's the very, very poisonous snake. It was right by our back door. And Poet's like, where's its mummy? And I was like, I don't know. Great question. Where is its mummy? Hopefully
hope
not
it's
looking at me.
Hopefully not in my laundry room. So
exactly. It was like, oh my God. So then I start I poked it a little bit because it did look dead. So I was like, okay. And I saw some puncture marks on it. Like, no, there was some blood speckles on it. And it was just sort of in this weird puddle. And I was like, okay, it's either drowned or something's got to it. But then immediately I started thinking, my cat catches mice all the time. Like the time I let the mouse go out of its mouth because I was feeling sorry for this suffering creature. And I was like, go be free, mouse. With all its like damage, it probably died later, like a really slow and painful death in the bush somewhere. But anyway, I thought I was doing the right vegan thing. So I found this snake and then immediately was like, oh crap. My cat has probably found this thing and has been playing with it. And then I was like, where's Aslan? So I started looking for him. He's in the bush, like dead asleep, but did actually look dead. So I was like, oh no. So then my day yesterday was grabbing the cat and taking it to the vet and then having to sit through all these tests to see if it got bitten because a baby snake pumps all its venom and can't hold off the venom. Yeah. So it pumps a whole lot. So it's even more deadly apparently. And the vet was like, oh my God, the blood's not clotting properly and we're going to have to do these big tests. Like $3,000 later. $1,000.
Like, I was going to say
he's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine. Didn't get a bite. Must have been like the crows or something. I was like, cool, fantastic, thanks. Like looking at my bank account, like hyperventilating, like, ugh. But there we go. The joys of living in the Adelaide Hills, guys.
That is the worst too, when you're at the vet and they're like, okay, so we just need a credit card to hold just like, just like a $2,000 deposit. And you're like, oh my, what?
Is that the deposit? So how much is the bill then?
Right. Is this like a thing where it's like a retainer and maybe you're going to use a little bit, but not all of it? And it's like, no, we're going to use all of it.
Necessary?
And then there's going to be more on top of that.
Oh my God. I know the vet was like, oh dear, this first test doesn't look good. And then of course they're like 4 hours like, the second test came back fine. I was like,
totally
what
fine.
is happening?
You're like,
did we do this on purpose? What? I don't know. Anyway,
slow day at the vet clinic. Thanks a lot, guys.
Oh, God. Anyway, fun. All right, let's jump in here with these questions. I have one from Alex. Thank you from Alex. She gave us a little DM. She asks, what do the kids do if you're not there at nighttime for bedtime, or do you put them down and then leave? Okay, so is this, I guess this is like, let's say you have a date night or you're going out, or you have a babysitter coming in. I have had to do this recently because the Fringe Festival is on here in Adelaide and I'm going out every night.
Yeah, you are, girl. Yes,
well,
you are.
Not quite, but
you love it.
Twice a week I go out. I love the Fringe. I love the Fringe. I come down to Adelaide because of the Fringe. It's so fun. It's vibrant. There's shows on. And sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get. Anyway, so I've had to do this a couple of times. What I tend to do, so this Saturday night I'm doing it again, but I've booked dinner from 5:30 p.m. So that I'm home by bedtime because I always find bedtime is where the kids get a little bit more sensitive if mum and dad aren't there, especially the baby. Prairie really needs to nurse down to sleep. That is her thing. However, if that's not possible, what we generally do is if I have a sitter coming in, I'll make sure that Poet, who's also one that can get quite sensitive at nighttime, gets to sleep in Big Brother's bed. And I know this isn't possible for everyone, but
so
Bodhi
cute.
knows. Yeah, Bodhi knows it's his job. If we have a sitter, it's his job to have Forrest and Poet in his bed, and he's got a double top bunk bed. So it's actually a little bit exciting for the kids to be able to sleep up top in the double bed, and Poet has to be in the middle for safety reasons. And he knows that he reads the book and he's sort of in charge of helping the others go down to sleep. And then if I hear good reports from the babysitter, like, oh, Bodhi was so helpful, I'll always give him like a special treat and he gets to pick what that is. Maybe that's an extra 30 minutes on devices because we've really cut that down now. It's only on the weekends and only gets an hour a day. Or it might be like going out for an ice cream or, you know, playing a game of Splatoon with mum or whatever it is. We incentivize Bodhi to help create sort of a comfortable and nurturing environment when we're away. I'm lucky in that I always have a babysitter plus my mum because
that's so nice.
Yeah, my baby Prairie is she a baby? She's 1.5 years. Can I still say baby?
I'm still calling Winter the baby.
Okay, but my little baby.
I know.
She's very attached to my mum. In fact, her like order of attachment is like me, then my mum, then Mark. So she loves her dad, but she loves my mum the most of the two of them. So we always make sure that if we have a babysitter coming on over, I say to mum, like, you're on Prairie, you walk her around in the pram, she gets to sleep in the pram, and I'll let my mum use a dummy. We weaned Prairie off a dummy when she was 1, and she only had it for night times from like 8 months to 1. I don't know why it got introduced at 8 months, but I think it was help. I was working on a TV show and I think the babysitters really used the dummy to help them get her to sleep.
Those things.
Pacifier in America. So I've kept one that we don't use unless mum needs it in emergencies. So sometimes she'll use that and help soothe her, and she'll still use all the same things that we use as comfort. So for instance, we have this one song that we play every night. It's an Om. It's the extended Om by, let me look it up. I know. Oh, here we go. chanting the sacred mantra Om. You can hear this, guys. It's really nice, isn't it? It's quite,
it feels really good.
I wonder for copyright. Am I allowed to play this? Anyway,
probably not. But we have insurance.
Yeah, there we go. Shout out to Music for Deep Meditation. I've been listening to the same thing on repeat since Bodhi was a baby.
Gosh.
So we'll put that on, and then the babysitter, my mum, they help just sort of recreate the same environment as we do at nighttime. And then sometimes I'll get home at 10 o'clock and I'll have to re-put children to sleep, but that's okay.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, that's amazing. And by the way, having your mom there is so awesome because they have like one familiar person that's always there, and then a babysitter who I think sometimes it just is like a little unsettling when they're not there all the time, you know?
That's right. That's why
kids,
you've got to go with Sonia. I feel like Sonia. It's so good that you have Sonia because that's their consistent, that's their other comfort person, which is so nice. Have you ever had to rely on a babysitter that they don't know that well?
Yes, I had babysitters in like rotation before Sonia came on and before she was on, more full time. And it was definitely different, and I was more nervous and anxious every time because, some of my babysitters were more consistent and I got on with them really well and I felt like Wyatt really loved them. And then there were some people that I'd be like, oh, I'm really, desperate and like, do you have a referral or whatever? And then I'd meet the person and then it just always made me nervous. But I think if you have somebody that you really love and trust, then, your kids are going to feel comfortable with them. And it's just nice to be able to get into a little bit of a routine with somebody. And for us, when we are putting kids down at night, I do tend to I love 5 o'clock dinner. Even if you're like, hey, I want to go grab like a couple's dinner. I'm like, cool. Can we do 5 o'clock? Because we want to be in bed at 8 o'clock.
Well, Eric goes to sleep at literally 8:30 p.m. He's dead to the world, isn't he?
Oh, I think it's like 7:30. I'm not kidding. He's in bed before any of us,
That's
and
so
then,
healthy, actually.
It's so good. And he's up early in the morning, like 5 something, doing sauna. And so, he's out of sauna and cold plunge by the time we're all waking up. So he's like gone to bed early and gets up early. And it's like
he does so well with a routine. I feel like he's
That's right.
the sort that would stick to his routine, like that type A, I'm doing it, I've got my thing, and that's amazing. But then you can plan accordingly, which is good.
Yeah, for sure. So when we go out at night, or when I've gone out at night and I'm going to miss bedtime, Sonia ends up getting everybody to bed. So it's different every time. And I think there is something to... if you've done naps on the fly and it's not consistently in one place, or you've done, bedtimes where you're traveling and stuff like that, there is something to it not being exactly the same every single night, so that when you do have to be gone for bedtime, it's not super jarring. So, sometimes I would sing songs to the kids or Eric would sing songs to the kids. Sometimes we'll do stories. Sometimes I'll tell stories. Sometimes we'll be split up. Sometimes we're all together. So it's not exactly the same. But when Sonia's putting them down, she actually still rocks Winter in a carrier and then lays her down and has a whole sleep mix. And the sleep mix of music, I feel like John Bon Jovi is one of the songs or something.
I feel like she should play your songs.
She does.
Let's do a Sarah Olsen plug here.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. But she plays the song and then it came on the radio one time and Winter was like, oh, that's my song that Sonia puts me to sleep with. And we're like, oh yeah, which is really cute. And then Wyatt and Esme usually sleep in my bed until I get home. So anyway, so if you're a co-sleeper, then that's, a way that we do it. And I would end up moving the kids to their own beds once I'm home. And then, probably feeding Winter the moment that I get into the bed because she'll wake up a little bit and then I give her a little milk and then she goes back to sleep. So anyway, I hope that helps. Should we read another question?
Yes. You go for it.
Okay. Emily Lauren was asking about fashion in postpartum. So I always like to think of fashion and, clothes and comfort of feeling postpartum and while you're pregnant, of trying to have as little waste as possible. So buying things that you can wear in pregnancy or maybe things that are already in your closet, like dresses that fit you, that are flowy and comfortable, like light cottons and things that are breathable, that you can also wear over in postpartum. But one of my favorite things to do during pregnancy is to get one really cozy PJ set. Or really cozy lounge set that I save for postpartum that I get to put on during that time. My other postpartum tip is go ahead and get yourself one pair of jeans that is the size that you are, or maybe a little bit, snug. in postpartum. So like, I'm not saying 2 weeks postpartum, but just like somewhere in that range. Cause you know, it takes everybody a different amount of time. But like, so I ended up buying a size jeans that were like 2 to 3 sizes larger than the jeans that are in my bin shoved into the garage. That's going like, I'm not touching those for another 2 years. Right. So that's just me. I know I can't fit into those for like probably a year and a half, 2 years. So I ended up getting myself a pair of jeans that were a few sizes bigger than my normal jeans, but pulling those on and buttoning them and throwing on a cozy sweater or shirt or whatever it is with that feels so
Which you
good.
can pull down.
Yes, it just feels good to have a pair of pants that fit instead of trying to like shove yourself into something that's like your body's not ready for. And why would it be? It took you all this time to grow this baby inside of you. And the reason why you might be, right in postpartum in the first few months, in the first like 6 months to a year, we carry a lot of extra, fat, water weight, lots of stuff like that, fluid when you're breastfeeding. So, I feel like we're so hard on ourselves. And I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, I left the hospital and just pulled up my jeans. And I'm like, not me. Like that never happened.
I feel like that kind of happened first time round. And then I was in for such a, I was saying for me, I'd lost it so quickly and I was like, oh, this is just the way it goes. And then like second time round, I was like, well, I'm in for a rude awakening. Like here I was, I haven't bought anything that fits me. And I was explaining to Sarah before, I was like, I would just try so hard to get my old jeans on. And I'd be like, oh my God, nothing is fitting me. And then I'd get sad about it. But I found, every time I have a baby, which seems like all the time, it takes me longer and longer and longer to get back to what I call my default shape. Yeah. I have a default shape, which is the shape where like I'm not on a diet. I'm just sort of, right now I'm doing 16-8 intermittent fasting, which is not a diet, and I can eat whatever I want and I do it in an 8-hour period and I bloody love it. And I've just got down to like what I think is my default size. Got it. And I'm just so loving it. Anyway, I will say that one of the things that I did this last time round is quite in fashion-wise right now. You should never ask me for fashion tips, but I do know it's in right now. It is like, those suit. See, I don't even know how to describe it. The top and the pants match, like the matching sets are in like little pattern matching sets. And oftentimes they have a really good wide elastic around the waist. So you can either pull them down to your hips or you can pull them up over your pooch. And they're often like V-neck and they're buttoned up. So you can whip out the boob when you need to do breastfeeding. And so there's that easy access, but it also sort of hangs and hides anything you want to be hidden, which is great. And then you can continue wearing it like when your body does go back to the way that maybe it was pre, or maybe it will never go back that way. It just is like will work for you no matter what size you are. So because they look really cool slouchy as well and oversized. So I think the matching suits are quite a good option as well.
I love that. And I love the flowy dresses like that you wore maybe during pregnancy. Those just transfer over so well during postpartum time. And I just happen to be like a person who loves jeans. I just love to throw on a pair of jeans and a sweater. And that's just my favorite, coziest thing ever. So that's why I have the jeans tip, because I gave my first 2 babies, I was like just trying so hard to get back into my jeans. And the last time I was like, why have I not bought a pair of jeans that are like 2 or 3 sizes bigger? And, just put those on and see how it feels. And it was amazing. And it made me so happy. And I was like, great, these are my default jean. I'm wearing them every day for a year. And it was great. So anyway, that's my tip. Also, I will tell you that, oh my gosh, I was just trying to remember the brand. There is, what is it called? Aerie, like American Eagle, Aerie American Eagle. Do you know what I'm talking about? The American Eagle brand.
You can never ask me about fashion things, Sarah. No idea.
Anyway, they make a really cozy bra that you don't clip on. It's just like a throw-on bra, and it's super soft. And I love that bra. I
And
also
these
love
ones.
the Bimby and Roy. Yeah, the
I'm
Bimby
wearing
and Roy.
it.
I love those bras. I wore those during
introed me to
pregnancy
this. Does
and
anyone want to look? Here we
postpartum.
go.
They're so good. Bimby and Roy, those are amazing.
They're so
and
good for
then-
breastfeeding because you can just whip out the boob as well.
Exactly. So good for breastfeeding. And then, everybody knows that I love Doan and Christy Dawn and those things. So, they have amazing
and you look
dresses.
so amazing. I gotta say, like, you are the perfect model for Christy Dawn. Every time I see you in that stuff, I'm like, I need it all of it. And I know I won't look like Sarah, but it doesn't matter. It's still cool.
Stop it. All right, you want to give us our next question?
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna do. Wait. Where did it go? Here. I'm scrolling back to our questions. Here we go.
Perfect.
There's one about travel, which
Great.
you and I have both done. So this is from Susanna. Could you please share any tips on traveling abroad with young ones? She's doing a trip from Sydney to the UK with a 3-year-old and a 15-month-old. Oh, God. It's my first time traveling with kids and I have no clue what I'm doing. I say, oh, God, the 15-month-old, because I have been traveling extensively with my 1 to 2-year-old. Like, in that bracket, I find it the hardest time to travel.
I know.
Because they're not quite old enough to be distracted by the TV, which you want to be able to put the TV on. You want to be able to shove an iPad in their face and be like, go for gold, mate. But when they're that age, they're like, sort of put the headphones on for a minute and then they want to kind of take them off and play with them and pull the plug out and put the plug back in. And then they get fussy about all sorts of little things and then they want to run up and down the aisles. Like, it's just such a busy, busy time. And they just don't care about TV at that age, or at least mine never did. So I do find that challenging. One thing I will say is I just am going to look up the name of the brand here for scooter bags. This is for the
This is the
scooter
best
bags.
gift you ever gave me was these scooter bags.
They're so good, I'm telling you. All right, so I discovered this. They are such a game changer. So my friend Christiane Diagon, she told me about these scooter bags that her kids had because she would travel all the time, all over the world with her kids. And so she would get them from age 3 and up. And I know you said you have a 3-year-old. So there's lots of different brands. The one that I'm loving right now, it's called Kitty Totes, KIDDIETOTES. You buy it from Amazon, the Kitty Totes hard shell ride-on scooter case. So basically, I have gone through a few different brands. And in fact, Sarah, the brand that I bought you, that was kind of the first brand. I think it's called Zinc Flight.
Yeah, I still have those.
It's kind of hard to put them up and put them down. It's not
Very
as easy. Yeah, it's not as easy as this other brand I found, which sort of, I believe, might be a bit of a ripoff of the Zinc Flight because they have similar colors and characters. And by the way, I'm not affiliated with any of these brands. But
not at all.
So I've moved on to Kitty Totes because what you need when you're traveling is when you're there with your kids and you're trying to put stuff in the overhead, it's got to be fast. You got to be able to grab the bag, click it down, put up the scooter part and shove it over the top. So I found with the other ones,
like sweating, like trying to put it down and just
so
like
hard to figure out how to get. Yes, exactly. And so I got so over that. And in fact, Mark broke a couple of them because he would be so frustrated in the moment. He would put too much effort into it and they would snap and break. And I'm like, oh God. So we went with Kitty Totes, which has a little lever that you press and the scooter bit just clicks right back up in and they zoom through the airport. So you don't have to worry about pulling them along on, I can't remember the name of that brand where like they sit on the trunky, I think it is. They sit on it and you're having to pull them along. They're just completely independent and they're off scooting and then you put it in the overhead. It is such a game changer. So I recommend that everyone gets it. And I can't tell you over the years how many people have stopped us with kids when we're in an airport and said, where did you get them from? Oh my God. It's crazy. we
and
always
people
feel
get a
very
kick
popular
out of
in the
it too.
airports. They
When
do.
we
They're
ride,
like, oh
when
my
we're
God.
all together and like all of our kids, I'll have to put this video up for this episode. But when all of our kids are scootering through the airport together, and it's like every single person is turning their head, being like, "Wait, what?
Like,
what
is
happening?
this? Where did you get it from?" And the
Yeah.
lights on the wheels with the kitty totes ones, they light up as well, which is really cute. So that's another little added thing. I've moved on to the Mr. Plum bags for Bodhi, which is sort of an adult-sized one. It's a lot heavier and I feel like a bit clunkier. But anyway, back to the 15-month-old. Oof, girl. Okay. I have traveled a lot on my own with all 4 of them, just including just a couple of months ago. And Prairie, I have got to bring the baby carrier. So that's the thing. She's too like distracted to go on the boob and fall asleep at nap time. And that for me is the hardest part when they're getting tired and they're on the plane. Gosh, especially if you don't time it out right and they're strapped into their little seatbelt on the way up or the way down. You got to be really diligent to make sure that they have had a good nap right before takeoff, or they're asleep on takeoff. You do not want a tired and cranky baby while you're waiting to take off, because everyone around you is going to be like, oh no, like we're in for it. So what I try to do is I either get her to sleep in the carrier right before, or I have had her sleep in the airport, like in the pram, and I know that she's not due for a nap for another couple of hours. So that way I can keep her distracted with things like I buy those little activity packs in the airport so that she's never seen it before. So it's just new and exciting. And there's crayons and there's stickers and there's little things that you can get from any of the newsagents. And she'll be really interested in that. I'll bring a couple of little toys in her backpack. And then like little sort of sensory things. So I've got this like widget toy with like little locks and things, and it's quite small and compact. So I can put it in my bag and she can fiddle around with that. Every kid has an iPad for travel. So I have their own headphone, their own iPad with educational apps that they can go on themselves, and they don't need me to be like organizing it all. And it's very important to make sure you have apps and TV shows that are 100% downloaded onto your iPad, so you don't need Wi-Fi, because a lot of the games you need Wi-Fi. So find like no Wi-Fi needed educational games and download them. And then my other huge hot tip is pack a snack bag, a whole bag of an array of snacks, different snacks, exciting snacks, like so many, because they will keep kids entertained when they're watching their iPads or they're watching the movies. They're going to be interested in all the different types of snacks that you brought. So like, go big or go home. We cannot go on a flight without a whole massive, sometimes we have like almost another wheel-on bag filled with snacks, and it just makes the time fly, because they're not like, I'm hungry, I need this, I want this. That's right. You know, you're just there and you're like, woo, creative with all these different ideas, these little lunch boxes. Sarah, what about you? Tell me, is there anything that you have as a must-have when you travel?
Well, all of those things that you just said are amazing, and I have to concur with all of it. And I will also just add really quickly that there's a stroller that I loved. If you need a stroller, if you're going to be somewhere where you're having to like constantly run around and you feel like that's something you want, the yo-yo stroller by Baby Zen goes in the overhead bin, and it's awesome. It's like super easy to fold up. I'm more of a carrier girl, so I use the Artipop carrier, and still to this day, I carry Winter in a carrier. And there was another question from Malo Cup, I think is your handle. And she said, on top of the traveling, how do you split up the duties between partners? And I think a carrier is a really great way to do that. It's like your partner can also carry the baby. And or you can do, carry the baby. Your partner can pack a bunch of the snacks. Like my husband loves to pack the snacks, and his thing is that we set the rice cooker. I know this is going to sound crazy, okay, but this is our go-to airplane food, and this is my hot tip. So we set the rice cooker to go off in the morning, and it has Japanese like white rice in there, and I fill a little container with the white rice, and then separately I bring a thing of, I'm not vegan, so we have the Patagonia salmon. So Patagonia Provisions has these like salmon packs. And so we bring salmon, we bring a side of seaweed, and we bring the rice, and then that's our meal for the airplane. And
So
we
you don't
all
have to
share
have the
it.
plain food.
That's right. And then we have these little bento boxes. So we'll pack, so Eric like packs crackers and cheese and like little snacks in the bentos, and they all have their like separate compartments. Each kid has a bento box. So when we're pulling snacks and stuff out, we just pull out the bento boxes and hand them out to everybody. And so that's their like thing for the whole flight. And then we'll add like the main meal to that of like the rice and then the nori and the salmon and stuff like that. So anyway, food is super important for us.
So good.
I have like food allergies and stuff, so I can't really eat airplane food. So for us, it's like very entertaining to have a nice array of snacks packed. And that's
So
it.
good.
Those are my favorite tips for the airplane. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this Ask Us Anything episode. And we can't wait to send this around and get more questions from you guys. These episodes will be a little bit shorter than our other episodes that go on and on and on and on because we can't stop talking.
And
I'm shocked that I was able to put some of my sentences together, even covered in weed oil. So,
all right, guys, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Bye.
Bye.